I have had a lot of interest in conserving, working with communities to conserve natural sites. But these natural sites could be their sacred sites, sacred mountains, areas which they consider important. And by coincidence, these are also areas which are rich in biodiversity. And these are also areas where they get resources. They are resources, be they medicinal plants, be they fruits, also fodder for their animals. So I've had a lot of interest in working with communities to preserve such areas. And one of the areas where we are working is in the northern part of Kenya. There is this lake known as Lake Turkana, which is one of the Rift Valley lakes. And on the southern eastern end of the lake, there is a big mountain, volcanic mountain. It's a dormant volcano known as Mount Kulal. Mount Kulal just rises above almost desert environment from around 400 meters, 400 meters to almost 2,200 meters above sea level. And as you climb the mountain, there are all these variations of vegetation, from desert to forest at the very top. And the diversity is amazing. It's really amazing. And this mountain, because of communication, has been sort of isolated. It has been not interfered with. It's the communities, local communities, who have been preserving this mountain. The local communities are predominantly a group known as Samburu. And from 2006 to 2 years ago, I've been working closely with UNESCO, because it is a biosphere reserve. It's an Akile biosphere reserve. I've been working with the UNESCO to get the communities to be aware that this is a biosphere reserve and it's a special place. And if possible, get the world to know that these people have been taking care of this mountain, and therefore they need a little bit of support and recognition. So like 2 years ago, actually it's last year, early last year, we made an application for a grant from the Christensen Fund, and they gave us some money now to work with the communities to build their capacity to protect this mountain. And it's amazing what's coming out, because this group, we realized that they have what they call traditional elders who take care of the environment. And these are the elders who they do many things. One, they are the ones who control the movement of livestock, because these people are pastoralists. The elders are the ones who control the movement of livestock. So when it's very dry, the livestock moves from the dry lower zones up the mountain. And when it's wet, the livestock is not allowed in the mountain. So the mountain is preserved, especially the top part, is preserved for extreme dry seasons. And then when the livestock is moved up during the very dry season, there are specific species whose branches are cut and given to livestock. Very specific species. And these species, these species are, of course, they are known to the people, and there are rules which govern. There are rules which govern the cutting of the branches. You cannot cut the whole tree. You cut branches and you give to your livestock to enable the livestock now stay active and alive until the next rain season. And as soon as the rain comes, all the livestock is moved down again. So these are elders who now protect the mountain. They have traditions of protecting the mountain. If you cut a tree there without permission of the elders, there is a fine, maybe for maybe a cow, depending, or a goat, depending on which species you have cut. There's a species known as Altaraquae. In English, we call it the cedar, pencil cedar. It's very valuable because it's used everywhere as posts, because it's resistant to termite. The wood is resistant to termite, so it's very valuable. And therefore, because of demand from outside, the elders are very strict. And therefore, if you are found cutting the tree, that tree, a live tree, then they say you have to pay like 100,000 Kenya shillings, equivalent to five full-grown bulls, 3, 4, 5 full-grown bulls. You have to pay that. And these are fines which have been set by the elders all around the mountain, and the elders are in communication.
So there are rules.
There are
Where
rules.
do the rules come from?
They are traditional rules. They are traditional rules.
These rules have been handed
down from generation to generation. If you take the animals up the mountain to the forest, when it's not the right time for taking, then there are also fines which have been set by the elders. If you go collecting roots of certain species for medicinal value, then there is a way you cannot cut the whole plant. You cannot uproot the whole plant. There are rules. And if you are found by the elders doing the opposite, then again you are fined. So they have a system over the years which has been handed down from elder to elder that protects the mountain. This is a mountain which luckily has not been gazetted as what we call a government forest, because we have seen many forests which have been gazetted, especially in the past. Now things are a little bit better. In the past, the management has been poor of gazetted forests, because it's the very people who manage the forests, the very people who are employed to manage the forest, who are the first to cut the trees and sell them. But now this one has escaped because it's a community which has been protecting the mountain. The forest services have improved in the last 5 years or so, 6 years, 7 years or so. But before, I think we were in a very bad state. Our forests were poorly managed. So this is a case where now we are working with the elders to build their capacity in many ways. One, we want them to understand that there are other people who are looking at them, and they should not be cowed by big officials coming. I want trees from that forest to build a government house, because that has happened before. Or I want trees and I will pay you this amount of money to build a hotel near the lake. But the elders will say no. So we want them to stand on their feet, and even if nobody should come and say, I am so and so, I have this amount of money, I'll give you, and we take trees from your forest and to build buildings outside that area. That's one thing we are doing. We are working with them to build their capacity as far as that is it.
It's okay for the elders to
Yes.
stand on their feet
Yes.
and to say,
Yes.
go away, this is a forest.
Yes.
But do they have the authority to say that to government officials?
They have authority. Not so long ago, like a few years ago, some important person came with a truck, and he brought with him armed soldiers on the truck, and he told the local administrator, I've been sent from the headquarters, it's in Marsabit, to cut a certain number of trees, poles, to build a house in Marsabit, a government house in Marsabit. And then the elders told them, just wait a little bit. And then the elders went and they had a meeting on their own, and then they discussed, the elders amongst themselves. The lorry was waiting there with the armed men who had been sent by some official. And then they, after discussing, the elders said, we have protected this forest for so long. We cannot allow somebody just to come from elsewhere with orders to cut a lorry full of trees, cedar trees, and then take them back. We cannot allow that. So they went and reported this to the official. They told the official, can you please take your lorry away, your truck away. We are not allowing this. That was a success. That was a very good story.